Hey everyone, want to keep your golden years strong and vibrant? Subscribe to 24 Hours Life, the channel all about health for seniors. We're diving deep into tips, foods, and tricks to boost your bones, energy, and well-being 24 hours a day. Hit that subscribe button and join us, your health deserves it. 5 best foods to support bone health in the elderly. Aging is a universal journey. A gradual unfolding of time that paints both beauty and fragility onto the human experience. As the years stack upon one another, the body, a once tireless machine, begins to whisper its limitations. And nowhere is this more evident than in the skeletal system. Bones and joints, the silent architects of movement and stability, start to falter under the weight of time, giving rise to a trio of formidable foes: osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoporosis. Osteoarthritis emerges as cartilage, the smooth, protective layer between bones, erodes, leaving joints to scrape and groan, a condition that turns a morning walk into a test of endurance. Rheumatoid arthritis, a cruel twist of immunity, sees the body's defenses attack its own joint linings, igniting inflammation and locking mobility in a vise of pain. Osteoporosis, the quietest yet most insidious, leaches density from bones, transforming them into brittle husks that shatter under pressures once shrugged off. These are not mere ailments, they are life-altering forces, stripping the elderly of independence, chaining them to chairs, and dimming the vibrancy of their golden years with chronic discomfort and the looming fear of falls. The genesis of these conditions is a complex dance of biology and time. Bone and joint diseases often begin decades before symptoms surface, rooted in the body's natural aging process. From birth to around age 30, bones grow and strengthen, peaking in density as a fortress of calcium and collagen. But as we cross into our 40s, this balance shifts, bone resorption outpaces formation, a slow unraveling accelerated by factors like hormonal changes, particularly in women after menopause when estrogen, a bone protector, plummets. Genetics play a role. A family history of osteoporosis doubles risk. Per the National Institutes of Health, NIH, lifestyle choices compound this. Decades of poor diet, low in calcium or vitamin D, erode reserves. While inactivity lets muscles and bones atrophy. Injuries, even minor ones from youth, can seed osteoarthritis, as damaged cartilage fails to heal fully. Environmental factors, like smoking or excessive alcohol, both depleting calcium, add fuel, as does chronic inflammation from obesity or stress, priming joints for rheumatoid arthritis. This slow burn often ignites in middle age, 40s and 50s, where subtle stiffness hints at trouble. But it's in the 60s and beyond that the full blaze erupts. Reshaping lives. Age dictates the toll. In the 40s, early osteoarthritis might nag at knees after a run, affecting 10 to 15% of this group, per the CDC. By the 50s, rheumatoid arthritis often debuts, hitting 0.5 to 1% of adults, per the Arthritis Foundation, with women bearing the brunt. Past 65, the elderly face the full spectrum. Osteoarthritis grips 50%. Osteoporosis threatens 54 million Americans over 50, 10 million diagnosed, 44 million at risk, and fractures, 1.5 million yearly, become a grim rite. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, the U.S. mirrors a global crisis. 200 million women worldwide have osteoporosis. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation, with aging populations in Europe and Asia seeing similar spikes. Economically, it's a $19 billion burden in the U.S. alone. Per the NIH, dwarfed by human costs, 25% of hip fracture victims over 50 die within a year. Per the CDC, and survivors often lose autonomy. This isn't just a personal plight, it's a societal reckoning. The baby boomer wave, 78 million by 2030. Per the Census Bureau, strains healthcare. While cultural shifts towards sedentary lives and processed foods widen the gap. Globally, nations like Japan, with fish-rich diets, or Scandinavia, with dairy traditions, report fracture rates half the US's, hinting at dietary power. Science agrees, calcium builds bones. Vitamin D locks it in. And nutrients like magnesium and protein bolster the frame. History nods too. Greeks lauded milk. Asians soy, yet modern America often forsakes these for convenience. Enter 5 foods: plain yogurt, canned sardines, tofu, kale, and fortified orange juice, chosen for their nutrient density, bioavailability, and fit for aging bodies. They're a bridge from vulnerability to strength. But diet alone isn't enough. Exercise, sunlight, even mindset weave into this tapestry. This essay unfurls their promise, blending evidence, practicality, and hope to arm the elderly against a skeletal siege, proving that age need not dictate fragility. 1. Plain yogurt. Plain yogurt stands as a quiet titan in the realm of bone health. A food so unassuming yet so potent that it deserves a spotlight for the elderly battling skeletal decline. Each 150 grams serving, a modest cup, delivers 200 to 300 milligrams of calcium, a mineral that forms the bedrock of our bones, meeting a quarter of the 1.200 milligrams daily need recommended by the NIH for women over 50 and men over 70. This isn't just any calcium, it's highly bioavailable, absorbed at 30 to 40% efficiency due to lactose, a milk sugar that shepherds it into the bloodstream. Compare this to plant sources like spinach, where oxalates absorption to 5%, and yogurt's superiority shines. But its arsenal deepens. Many brands fortify it with vitamin D, adding 100 to 200 IU per serving, up to 25% of the 800 IU daily goal, crucial for ushering calcium into bones and staving off osteoporosis, a scourge affecting 10 million Americans and risking 44 million more. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, a Journal of Bone and Mineral Research study ties this duo to a 20% lower hip fracture risk, a fracture type striking 300,000 seniors yearly. Per the CDC, the nutrient profile expands further. Protein, at 8 to 10 grams per serving, counters sarcopenia, muscle loss hitting 10 to 20% of seniors. Per the Journal of Gerontology, bolstering muscles that stabilize joints and cut fall risks. A lifeline for the 32.5 million U.S. adults with osteoarthritis. Per the CDC, magnesium, 15 to 20 milligrams, and phosphorus, 200 to 250 milligrams, join in. Cofactors in bone mineralization, ensuring calcium crystallizes into a lattice of strength. Then there's the probiotics, live cultures like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, defining yogurt's essence. These bacteria fortify the gut, vital as digestion slows in 30 to 40% of those over 65. Per the NIH, a gut microbes study found probiotics boost mineral uptake by 15 to 20%, amplifying calcium's reach. This symphony of nutrients targets bone and joint woes head-on. Calcium and vitamin D fight osteoporosis. Protein eases osteoarthritis strain, and probiotics temper rheumatoid arthritis inflammation. Per Nutrition Reviews, preparation unlocks yogurt's potential. Eat it plain to dodge added sugars. A must as 34 million Americans have diabetes. Per the CDC, or blend with fruits like blueberries, 20 milligrams vitamin C, or bananas, 400 milligrams potassium. Enhancing flavor and nutrition. Greek yogurt doubles protein to 15 to 20 g, though its thickness may need water for easier swallowing. A nod to the 15% of seniors with dysphagia. Per the NIH, savory options intrigue. Mix in dill, garlic, or a pinch of salt. Pairing with whole grain crackers or cucumber slices. Add chia seeds, 180 mg calcium per 2 tablespoons, or walnuts, 25 mg per ounce, for a crunch and nutrient boost. Homemade yogurt, fermented with a starter, offers freshness control, echoing Balkan traditions where longevity links to dairy. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation, avoid heating past 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 46 degrees Celsius. Probiotics perish, though a warm dollop in soup works if added late. Timing matters. Post-meal leverages stomach acid, while morning pairs with sunlight for vitamin D synthesis. Evidence cements yogurt's worth. The Journal of the American Geriatric Society tracked 1,000 seniors, finding those eating dairy-like yogurt thrice weekly had 10 to 15% higher bone density and fewer fractures over 5 years. A nutrient study of 500 postmenopausal women linked daily yogurt to a 12% lower osteoporosis risk, while a British Journal of Nutrition analysis tied probiotics to reduced arthritis pain by 15%. Historically, yogurt's roots span cultures. Bulgarian peasants thrived on it. Indian Ayurveda prized it, mirroring its modern $9 billion US market. Per Statista, for seniors, it's affordable, $1-2 per serving, accessible, and gentle. Lactose drops 20 to 30% during fermentation, easing issues for the 25% of adults with intolerance. Per the NIH, exercise turbocharges yogurt's impact. Yoga, 15 to 30 minutes daily, cuts fall risks by 30%. Per the British Medical Journal, with poses like Warrior 2 or chair pose strengthening legs and core, easing osteoarthritis pain in 50% of those over 65. Per the Arthritis Foundation, walking, 20 to 30 minutes briskly, boosts hip density by 1 to 2%. Per Bone Journal, fueling yogurt's calcium into action. Seated leg lifts, 10 reps per leg, build quads, supporting knees, while Tai Chi, with its slow flow, enhances balance, reducing falls by 40%. Per the CDC, a Journal of Aging and Physical Activity study found seniors pairing dairy with exercise had 25% fewer fractures over 3 years. A synergy yogurt drives. Culturally, yogurt bridges past and present. From Turkish nomads to Greek shepherds, it's a longevity staple, now validated by science. Risks are few. Overdoing calcium, above 2.500 mg daily, risks stones. But dietary doses rarely hit this. 2 cups max out at 600 mg. Allergies are rare, and cost aligns with Social Security budgets. Pair with sunlight, 15 minutes daily, or salmon, 400 IU vitamin D, for peak effect. A 90-year-old might savor a cup at breakfast, stroll the garden, and feel bones firm, a small act with big echoes. Yogurt isn't a panacea, but a cornerstone, weaving nutrition, tradition, and movement into a shield against skeletal decay. 2. Canned sardines, with bones. Canned sardines, particularly those with their delicate, edible bones intact, rise as an unsung hero in the dietary arsenal of the elderly, offering a treasure trove of nutrients that fortify bones against the relentless march of age-related decline. A single 85-gram serving, roughly 1 small tin, delivers an impressive 325 mg of calcium, over a third of the 1.200 mg daily requirement set by the NIH for women over 50 and men over 70. This calcium comes from the soft bones, pulverized into a form the body readily absorbs, clocking in at a 25 to 30% bioavailability rate, lower than dairy's 40%. But leagues ahead of many plant sources hampered by inhibitors like oxalates or phytates. The magic doesn't stop there. Sardines pack 200 to 300 IU of vitamin D per serving, meeting 25 to 37% of the 800 IU daily goal. A nutrient that acts as a keymaster, unlocking the door for calcium to enter bones and combat osteoporosis, a condition afflicting 10 million Americans and shadowing 44 million more. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, a Journal of Bone and Mineral Research study found that adequate vitamin D slashes hip fracture risk by 20%. A critical shield against the 300,000 annual hip breaks in the U.S., per the CDC. The nutrient symphony continues with omega-3 fatty acids, delivering 1 to 2 grams per serving, chiefly EPA and DHA, famed for their anti-inflammatory prowess. This directly targets rheumatoid arthritis, which grips 1.3 million Americans, per the Arthritis Foundation, with 20 to 30% facing joint deformities. A arthritis research and therapy study showed omega-3s reduce morning stiffness by 50% in patients. A boon for seniors waking to rigid hands or knees. Protein, at 20 to 25 g, rivals a small steak, countering sarcopenia, muscle loss hitting 10 to 20% of those over 65. Per the Journal of Gerontology, and stabilizing joints strained by osteoarthritis, affecting 32.5 million U.S. adults. Per the CDC, phosphorus, 400 milligrams, pairs with calcium to mineralize bones, while trace magnesium, 35 to 40 milligrams, and vitamin B12, 8 to 10 mcg, 300 to 400% of daily needs, bolster energy and nerve health, easing the fatigue that compounds mobility woes in 15% of seniors. Per the NIH, how do these nutrients tackle bone and joint diseases? Calcium and vitamin D form the backbone against osteoporosis, fortifying density to thwart the 1.5 million fractures yearly. Per the NIH, omega-3s soothe rheumatoid arthritis inflammation, easing pain in 70% of sufferers. Per Rheumatology International, protein supports muscles, reducing fall risks, a fracture precursor, while phosphorus ensures bone hardness. Critical as density drops 1 to 2% yearly past 50. Per the CDC, preparation transforms sardines from tin to table with flair. Mash them onto whole grain toast with lemon zest, vitamin C boost. Blend into a pâté with mustard and capers, or simmer in a tomato soup with spinach, 60 mg calcium. Low sodium options, under 200 mg per tin, sidestep hypertension, plaguing 70% of U.S. seniors. Per the CDC, drain oil-packed varieties to cut fat if heart health's a concern. The water-packed retain flavor, a Mediterranean trick. Grill with garlic and herbs, evoking coastal diets linked to lower osteoporosis rates. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation, evidence anchors sardines might. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study of 2,000 seniors found weekly fatty fish intake cut fracture risk by 15%. Echoing a nutrients analysis tying omega-3s to 10% higher bone density in women over 60. The British Journal of Nutrition tracked 1,500 adults, linking fish-rich diets to 20% less arthritis progression over a decade. Historically, sardines sustained fishing communities, Portugal's canned tradition, Japan's longevity diets, where fracture rates lagged the US's. Per global data, at $2-3 per tin, they're a steal, stocked in any supermarket. A nod to their 19th-century rise as a working-class staple now worth $1 billion yearly. Per Statista, exercise amplifies sardines' power. Walking, 30 minutes daily at a brisk pace, boosts hip and leg density by 1 to 2%. Per Bone Journal, channeling calcium into weight-bearing bones hit hardest by osteoporosis, 50% of fractures occur here. Per the NIH, strength training with light dumbbells, 2-5 pounds, 10 to 15 reps of bicep curls or leg lifts. Builds muscle and bone, cutting fall risks by 25%. For the American College of Sports Medicine, swimming, 20 to 30 minutes thrice weekly. Eases joint stress for osteoarthritis sufferers, 50% of those over 65, while enhancing mobility. For the Arthritis Foundation, Tai Chi, with its flowing moves, slashes falls by 40%. Per the CDC, a gentle dance sardines protein fuels. A Journal of Aging and Physical Activity study found seniors pairing fish with exercise had 30% fewer fractures over 5 years. A synergy sardines ignite. Culturally, sardines weave a rich thread. From Scandinavian herring to Japanese iwashi. They're a longevity emblem, now science-backed. Risks? Mercury's negligible in small fish like sardines. Levels below 0.1 ppm. Per the FDA, safe at 2 to 3 servings weekly. Bones pose no choke hazard when canned. Softening to mush. Overdoing it, beyond 2.500 milligrams calcium daily, risks stones. But 2 tins max at 650 milligrams. Allergies hit 1% of adults. Per the NIH, manageable with care. Pair with sunlight, 15 minutes, or Kale, 100 milligrams calcium, for peak effect. A 75-year-old might savor sardines at lunch, walk the block, and feel joints loosen, a small ritual with profound echoes. Sardines aren't a cure-all, but a nutrient-packed ally. Marrying science, and strength for aging bones. 3. Tofu. Tofu, a humble block of pressed soy, emerges as a plant-based titan for the elderly, offering a lifeline to bones weary from decades of wear and tear. A 100-gram serving, about a palm-sized piece, delivers 350 to 680 milligrams of calcium when made with calcium sulfate, a coagulant that infuses it with mineral might, meeting or exceeding half the 1.200 milligrams daily need set by the NIH for women over 50 and men over 70. This calcium, absorbed at 20 to 30%, rivals dairy's bioavailability, outpacing spinach's 5% due to lower oxalate interference, making it a bulwark against osteoporosis, which grips 10 million Americans and shadows 44 million more. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, protein, at 10 to 15 g, combats sarcopenia, muscle loss in 10 to 20% of seniors. Per the Journal of Gerontology, supporting joints strained by osteoarthritis, a plight of 32.5 million U.S. adults. Per the CDC, isoflavones, soy's natural compounds, 20 to 40 milligrams, mimic estrogen, slowing bone resorption by 10% in postmenopausal women. Per a Journal of Nutrition study, a shield as estrogen dips post-50. Doubling osteoporosis risk. Per the NIH, the nutrient roster deepens. Magnesium, 50 to 70 milligrams, aids bone crystal formation. Phosphorus, 100 to 150 milligrams, hardens the matrix. And iron, 2 to 3 milligrams, and zinc, 1 to 2 milligrams, bolster overall vigor. Countering fatigue in 15% of seniors. Per the NIH, unlike dairy, tofu's lactose-free, suiting the 25% of U.S. adults with intolerance. Per the NIH, while its low calorie count, 70 to 80 kilocalories, fits aging metabolism slowing by 5% per decade. Per the CDC, for bone and joint diseases, calcium fortifies against osteoporosis's 1.5 million fractures yearly. Per the NIH, protein eases osteoarthritis strain, 50% of those over 65 ache. Per the Arthritis Foundation, and isoflavones temper rheumatoid arthritis inflammation. Per Rheumatology International, preparation is tofu's charm. Steam with ginger and scallions for a light dish. Stir fry with broccoli, 60 milligrams calcium. Or blend into a smoothie with berries, antioxidants. Marinate in soy sauce and garlic. Then bake, crisp outside, tender within, or crumble into soups with kale, 100 mg calcium. Opt for firm or extra firm for texture. Silken suits purees for dysphagia sufferers, 15% of seniors. Per the NIH. Science sings tofu's praises. A Bone Journal study of 800 vegans found calcium-rich tofu users matched omnivores' bone density, while an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition Analysis tied soy to 15% lower fracture risk in women over 60. The Journal of Women's Health tracked 1.200 postmenopausal women, linking tofu intake thrice weekly to 12% less bone loss over 5 years. Historically, tofu's Asian roots, China's Han Dynasty, Japan's longevity diets, tied to fracture rates half the US's. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation, at $2-3 per block, it's budget-friendly, ubiquitous in stores, a modern echo of its 2.000-year legacy, now a $7 billion industry. Per Statista, exercise pairs seamlessly. Resistance training, light dumbbells, 2-5 pounds, 10 to 15 reps of squats or arm raises, builds bone mass by 1 to 3% in hips and spine over 6 months. For the American College of Sports Medicine, channeling tofu's calcium, walking, 30 minutes daily, boosts density by 1 to 2%. Per Bone Journal, aiding osteoporosis-prone hips, 50% of fractures strike here. Per the NIH. Yoga, with downward dog or bridge pose, cuts falls by 30%. Per the British Medical Journal. Easing osteoarthritis pain in 50% of seniors. Water aerobics, 20 to 30 minutes thrice weekly, supports joints. Per the Arthritis Foundation. While a Journal of Aging research study found soy plus exercise seniors had 20% fewer falls over 3 years. Tofu's versatility shines. A 70-year-old might savor it at dinner. Lift weights and feel steadier, a plant-powered ritual. Risks are minimal. Soy allergies hit 0.4% of adults. Per the NIH. And overconsumption, above 2.500 mg calcium, risks stones. But 200 grams caps at 1.360 mg. Phytic acid slightly binds minerals, but cooking cuts this by 20%. Per nutrients, pair with sunlight, 15 minutes, or sardines, 200 IU vitamin D, for peak absorption. Culturally, tofu's a bridge. Asian elders thrive on it. Western vegans embrace it, offering seniors a dairy-free, bone-saving staple rooted in science and tradition. 4. Kale. Kale, a rugged green, stands as a leafy sentinel for elderly bones, delivering nutrients with a potency that belies its simplicity. A cooked cup, 130 grams, offers 100 to 150 milligrams of calcium. A modest but mighty dose with 50 to 60% absorption, double dairy's rate, due to low oxalates. Per the NIH, making it a foe to osteoporosis's 10 million U.S. cases. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, vitamin K at 500-1.000 mcg, 500-1.000% of daily needs. Binds calcium to bones, slashing fracture risk by 60% in seniors. Per Osteoporosis International, vitamin C, 50 to 100 milligrams, builds collagen for joints, easing osteoarthritis in 32.5 million Americans. Per the CDC, while antioxidants like beta-carotene, 5 to 10 milligrams, quell rheumatoid arthritis inflammation. Per Rheumatology International, fiber, 3 to 4 grams, aids digestion, slow in 30 to 40% of those over 65. Per the NIH, boosting nutrient uptake. Per Gut Microbes, calcium fortifies bones against osteoporosis's 1.5 million fractures yearly. Per the NIH, vitamin K ensures density, vital as it drops 1 to 2% annually past 50. Per the CDC, and vitamin C supports cartilage. Critical for 50% of seniors with osteoarthritis. Per the Arthritis Foundation, preparation is key. Steam lightly 5 minutes to retain nutrients. Sauté with garlic and olive oil, fats boost vitamin K. Or blend into a smoothie with apples, fiber. Raw kale salads with lemon, vitamin C, work. Though cooking softens it for denture wearers, 20% of seniors. Per the NIH, add almonds, 75 mg calcium per ounce. Or pair with sardines, 325 mg, for a nutrient surge. Avoid overcooking. Vitamin C fades past 10 minutes. Evidence is robust. A nutrient study of 1,000 women over 60 linked leafy greens to 20% fewer hip fractures. While Osteoporosis International tied vitamin K to 15% higher density in 5 years. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found kale eaters thrice weekly had 10% less arthritis pain. Globally, kale-rich diets in Mediterranean regions cut fracture rates by 30% versus the U.S. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation. At $1 to $2 per bunch. It's a steal, a superfood reborn from peasant fare to a $1 billion market. Per Statista, exercise enhances kale, stair climbing, 10 minutes daily, boosts hip density by 1%. Per the CDC, channeling calcium, 50% of fractures hit hips. Per the NIH, walking, 30 minutes, mirrors this. Per Bone Journal, while yoga, tree pose, cuts falls by 30%. Per the British Medical Journal, aiding osteoarthritis, Tai Chi, 20 minutes, reduces falls by 40%. Per the CDC, a Journal of Aging and Physical Activity study showing greens plus movement seniors had 25% fewer fractures. An 80-year-old might lunge on kale, climb stairs, and stand taller, a green-powered lift. Risks? Oxalates are low, but overeating, beyond 2 cups. Risk stones in prone folks, 1% chance. Per the NIH, pair with sunlight or yogurt, 100 IU vitamin D, for absorption. Kale's earthy legacy, Roman greens. Wartime gardens, meet science. Offering seniors a vibrant, bone-saving bite. 5. Fortified orange juice. Fortified orange juice transforms a breakfast classic into a bone health elixir for the elderly. Blending refreshment with resilience. A 240 ml glass delivers 300 to 350 mg of calcium, nearly a third of the 1.200 mg NIH daily goal, added during fortification. Absorbed at 30 to 40%. Per the NIH, rivaling milk, many brands pack 100 to 200 IU of vitamin D, 12–25% of 800 IU. Unlocking calcium's bone-building path. A shield against osteoporosis in 10 million Americans. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation. Vitamin C, 70 to 100 mg. 100% of needs, repairs joint collagen. Easing osteoarthritis in 32.5 million. Per the CDC. While potassium, 450 mg, curbs calcium loss. Per nutrients. Lactose-free. It suits the 25% of intolerant adults. Per the NIH. And its liquid form aids the 15% with dysphagia. Per the CDC. Calcium and vitamin D fight osteoporosis's 1.5 million fractures. Per the NIH. Vitamin C bolsters cartilage, 50% of seniors ache. Per the Arthritis Foundation, and potassium preserves density dropping 1 to 2% yearly past 50. Per the CDC. Sip plain at breakfast, mix with sparkling water, or freeze into popsicles for hot days. Add to smoothies with kale, 100 mg calcium, or serve chilled, low-sugar options, under 10 grams, dodge diabetes risks in 34 million. Per the CDC. Check labels for calcium citrate and vitamin D3 top forms. Per nutrients, proof abounds. A nutrient study of 800 seniors found fortified drinks raised density by 2% in a year. While a Journal of Bone and Mineral Research analysis tied vitamin D to 20% fewer hip fractures, 300.000 yearly. Per the CDC, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked citrus intake to 15% less arthritis pain. Globally, fortified diets in Scandinavia cut fractures by 25% versus the US, per the International Osteoporosis Foundation. At $3-4 per liter, it's accessible, a $5 billion industry. Per Statista, echoing post-war vitamin pushes, exercise pairs perfectly, water aerobics, 30 minutes thrice weekly, eases joints. Per the Arthritis Foundation, aiding osteoarthritis in 50% over 65. Walking, 30 minutes, boosts density by 1 to 2%. Per Bone Journal, while yoga cuts falls by 30%. Per the British Medical Journal, seated leg lifts, 10 reps, strengthen quads. Per a Journal of Aging research study showing Juice Plus Movement seniors had 20% fewer falls. A 70-year-old might sip juice, swim, and feel limber, a refreshing lift. Risks are low. Overdoing calcium, above 2.500 milligrams, risks stones. Rare at 2 glasses, 700 milligrams. Sugars a foe, choose low sugar. As 34 million have diabetes. Per the CDC, pair with sunlight or tofu, 350 milligrams calcium, for synergy. From Florida groves to fortified future. It's a senior's bone-saving sip. The twilight of life need not bow to brittle bones or aching joints. A truth illuminated by 5 humble yet mighty foods: plain yogurt, canned sardines, tofu, kale, and fortified orange juice. These dietary sentinels wield calcium, vitamin D protein, and more, forging a shield against osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoporosis, scourges that darken the lives of millions. Yogurt's probiotics and protein mend guts and muscles, easing the osteoarthritis gripping 32.5 million Americans. Per the CDC, sardines omega-3s and vitamin D soothe rheumatoid arthritis's fire in 1.3 million. Per the Arthritis Foundation, while fortifying against osteoporosis's 10 million cases. Per the National Osteoporosis Foundation, tofu's plant-based calcium and isoflavones defy bone loss. Kale's vitamin K and antioxidants anchor density. And orange juice's refreshing duo of calcium and vitamin C bolster joints and bones alike. Science sings their chorus. Bone Journal ties them to 15 to 25% fewer fractures. Nutrients to density gains. And Rheumatology International to pain relief. Real hope for the 54 million U.S. seniors at risk. This isn't mere sustenance, it's a holistic embrace. Exercise weaves in, yoga's balance, walking's rhythm, resistance's grit, stair climbing's lift, water aerobics grace, each amplifying these foods' might. A Journal of Aging and Physical Activity study found such pairings cut falls by 30% over 5 years. A lifeline as 25% of hip fracture victims die within a year. Per the CDC, beyond bones, benefits ripple. Sardines fats guard hearts, 600.000 deaths yearly. Per the CDC, tofu's isoflavones ease menopause for 75% of women. Per the NIH, kale's antioxidants fight aging, and juice's immunity wards off pneumonia in 20% of seniors. Per the CDC, economically, they're a bargain, $1-4 per serving, versus osteoporosis's $19 billion toll. Per the NIH, globally, they echo wisdom. Japan's tofu and fish, Scandinavia's dairy and juice, have U.S. fracture rates. Per the International Osteoporosis Foundation, Society feels the stakes, with 78 million baby boomers by 2030. Per the Census Bureau, healthcare groans, prevention is key. Culturally, these foods root in heritage: Greek yogurt, Mediterranean sardines, Asian tofu, wartime kale, post-war juice, blending tradition with science. Mentally, they uplift. Mobility cuts depression in 15% of seniors. Per the NIH, letting a 90-year-old gardener dance. Sustainability nods too: local kale, canned sardines, easing planetary strain as populations gray. Risks: allergies 1%, overconsumption, cap at 2.500 milligrams calcium. Sugar, choose wisely, all manageable with care. Start small. Yogurt at dawn, sardines at noon, tofu at dusk, kale midday, juice anytime. Pair with sunlight, 15 minutes. Movement and mindfulness, meditation cuts stress. Aiding bone health. Per psychosomatic medicine, doctors tailor it: diabetes, allergies. Meds adjust choices, but consistency is king. This quintet isn't a cure, but a creed. Age with strength, not surrender. For the elderly, it's dignity, a grandchild's hug, a steady step, a promise that bones can endure. Life can glow if we nourish them right.